we are going to have the eternal debate, David versus Goliath, which is the big tech versus the open source. For this, today we have David, who is the PinAI co-founder. David, if you want to come. We have also Jean, she's CEO at CrunchDAO. Scott will be acting with us as a co-founder of KITE. Magnus, head of product of Blocksense, and also Himanshu, co-founder of Sentient. Finally, Kamesh, who is core contributor at OpenLedger. So please have a seat, everyone. We have a lot of mics. Let me share this with you. And Blingoh is going to be moderating. Yeah.
Hello? I thought I was sitting in the center. It's like, that's super funny. All right. Hi. Hey guys, I couldn't talk to you guys earlier. A lot of you are super busy, but super glad to have all of you here. I think this is like one of the most stacked panel that we have today. And I hope at least a lot of us get some answers out of it. I know the questions we're going to ask don't really have answers. We need to do like a lot of work. So it's just me reminding all my favorite founders that go back to your desk and like do more work. But I think it's great to like brainstorm ideas together with each one of you. So I think what we're going to do is like quickly start with like quick intros of each one of you, starting from Davide. And then we can dive deeper into like how we can break this panel. And actually a lot of internet with open source versus big tech, breaking the AI model monopoly. So yeah, Davide, do you want to start with the intro?
Hi, I'm Davide. I'm one of the co-founders of PinAI. We are building a personal AI network. So what this means is that essentially we augment AI with personal data. So on the data side, we have a data wallet. And then on the AI side, we have a personal AI. And then the network aspect of it is that we essentially have a bunch of agents that we allow the personal AI to connect to and kind of fetch a specialized service on behalf of the user. Yeah, so I'm excited to be in this panel.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for having us on the panel. Thank you for everyone for coming and listening to the panel. I'm Jean, I'm founder of and CEO of Crunch. And at Crunch, we've been building this army of data scientists. Basically, we have 8,000 ML engineers over the planet. We have 1,200 PhD. And we are incentivizing them to build a model for our institutional customers, which includes sovereign wealth funds, which includes one of the largest investment bank in the US, and other financial institutions in the US. We are based in the US, based in Abu Dhabi as well, and so I'm really happy that you guys are discovering UAE. It's a great country out there. I hope you're enjoying it.
Hello everyone, I'm Scott. I'm co-founder and CTO of KITE AI. So KITE AI is a purpose-built layer 1 for AI. What we do is that we want to enable the personal agent to discover service and then find the best service for them, and then the agent can discover the service, look at the service level agreement, exchange service for payment, and then that's KITE AI's tool. So underlying is powered by proof attributed intelligence. We want to make sure we assign ID and trust for every single agent. So agent can transact on behalf of user in this case. So yeah, I'm based in San Francisco, and I spent last 15 years building foundational data and AI infrastructure in companies like Salesforce and Uber. Before KITE AI, I also co-founded a streaming DB company and then raised 45 million for that one.
All right, hey everyone. My name is Magnus from Blocksense Network. We're a programmable Oracle network designed to verify any kind of data or compute on-chain, omni-chain. Last fall, we got backing from A16Z as well as several other great backers like Justin Drake and 2 others from the Ethereum Foundation, among others, to try and solve the Oracle problem in crypto in a more decentralized and crypto-economically secure way. And that's what we're doing today. So we are live on 30 plus EVMs, had our first mainnets launch just last month, and we're supporting protocols across the gamut from DeFi with risk-aware oracles to prediction markets and also AI agents as well.
Hi everyone, I'm Himanshu Tyagi. I'm one of the co-founders of Sentient, and that's all the time we have. Sentient is building OpenAGI, which is AGI comprising multiple agents, multiple models, multiple data sources, and to compete with OpenAI, which is a monolithic large model, very smart, but monolith, versus multi-agent, multi-model, multi-data ecosystem where you have the complete AGI experience at one place. And we're already collaborating with most of the people on this stage and looking forward to collaborate with the remaining.
Hi everyone, so I'm Kamesh, one of the core contributors of OpenLedger. OpenLedger is a next-gen blockchain network for AI. So we are more like a specialized blockchain for AI. So we believe general blockchains will not solve or encourage more developers to build. So we designed in a way where you can collect the data, fine-tune the data, and then launch more specialized models on top of us. We have a concept which is called proof of attribution. So because who was the data contributor, you're able to reward them back. It's a concept of proof of attribution. So that's all about it. My background personally, so I ran a couple of companies before. We always built companies which worked with a lot of enterprise before, like Walmart, Sony, and those kind of brands. So we used to do 42 million ARR in my past company. So I'm building OpenLedger last 1 year. So yeah, it has been a great journey so far. So heading towards the TG soon.
Amazing. So I think, first of all, on the panel side, like a lot of panels have like specific panelists from like one thing. Let's all talk agents. Let's all talk like something on the compute side. We tried to do something different. Like we tried to get everyone from like each one of the sectors. So everyone on this table kind of builds this whole full stack crypto X AI kind of panel. Like we want to ask like more generic questions, but in detail. So the idea is like super specifically, each one of you is building a part of crypto X AI, which is trying to break this AI monopoly that big tech has. And each of your solution is like doing some part of it, which is trying to take away like some part of centralized control and getting like more things become decentralized. So I think I'll just start quickly with Kamesh and we go in reverse order, trying to understand how does it differ from everything that's happening on the big tech side, like what Sentient is doing, what KITE AI is doing, what Crunch is doing. More specifically, just to understand, like this is the counterpart in the Web3 side, and what's happening on Web2 is like, this is how it's different.
I can start. So basically, we don't want to really fight with either ChatGPT or OpenAI. So what we were trying to do, we are not competing or trying to kill the centralized big player. Centralized guys are always good, so because they have a couple of decades of journey, couple of decades of journey in the space. So Web3 is new. So we believe on because at the end of the day, YouTube is paying us if you create a content, and Facebook used to pay us, and every platform so far, whatever you see, if we contribute some data, we get paid in some way. But unfortunately, it is not the case in AI. So whatever data you contribute, they simply scrape the data and then they pass on the intelligence to the end users. They never contribute or share revenue to any of the actual internet data contributor, right? So that is the old problem. So how to fix that problem is what we are trying to do. How to make this data more, attribute the data, and then making the model more explainable. So we believe that only which is something Web3 can handle, because Web2 companies don't want to talk about the problem of paying back to the end user, because just ChatGPT is not doing it and no one is even thinking about that, right? So that is the problem we are focusing. So our focus is going to be how to figure out which data is more valuable, who is contributing the data, and then how we able to reward them back. So that is the whole idea. So model is one part of it. Generally just simply selling the data as a data marketplace won't work. We've seen a lot of companies in 17, 18, like Ocean Protocol and those kind of companies are trying to do more like a data marketplace site. So more than that, now we are in AI era. So just only data is not going to be the value. So the data to intelligence was the key. Where if you're able to query any model and then able to get an answer, what is the data source for that? Like who contributed the data for that? So that is the point we are trying to tag in, so that we can create a new way of revenue for the most of the content creators. That is, interestingly, if you see KITE kind of platform, Twitter is always there, but they created a new revenue stream for a lot of people, right? Because of data contribution, quality of the data, they're able to figure out that using the model. Very similar to that, like that is what we are trying to do. That's why we believe like building a complete infrastructure where people can build more instances. That is the way we can even try to do some kind of value difference here, but not trying to compete with ChatGPT and telling, hey, no, we're going to build bigger, much better version of ChatGPT, or just trying to combine all the open source app and say we will be bigger than ChatGPT. That model won't work. That is what we are trying to see.
Amazing. So Kamesh kind of sided with big tech in some sense, right? He's like, okay, I'm not competing with them. I just built with them. So I think I'd also add this to the question, like, do you want to support them like as like I'll play with you? Or a lot of protocols like I've researched deeply on, they do want to take like a jab at it. So Himanshu, do you want to go next?
We are competing with them head
Exactly.
on. So I don't agree with this view alone. I think this is partly true. Like there are projects in crypto who want to solve a very sharp wedge product problem and create a technology piece. I completely agree that data is that piece where crypto can make a difference. Although it's not like centralized or big companies are so behind in data, and I mean, they have their own way, and I'm seeing how it's happening in India now. I mean, the kind of money people are getting for data labeling is much more than any software job in Indian back offices now. All the top PhD students from India are considering data labeling jobs because they're highly lucrative. XAI is paying $70, $80 an hour for code comments and labeling. It's completely crazy. So it's not like the counterpart is, crypto has a counterpart for that. So each of these technology pieces, because crypto has this grand developer pool, can have product from this side. But let's come from top down. The vision that Sentient and many other projects are after is, what is the counterpart of large, monolithic, centrally governed AI models that we got used to, which are amazing. O3 is amazing, Gemini is amazing, but it's large, centralized, monolithic. It has many shortcomings. For example, you can't have a feature upgrade overnight in it. For example, you cannot spend less money on some answer. Every answer costs you something. You can't, if you want a travel feature built in it, you can't do that. It has some dangers of centralization, which are now even more devastating. All these PhD students joining as data labelers do not realize that those comments that they are giving was earlier what they were doing to build their own IP on brand, and nothing like that will come. These are all a part of a model now. So it's centralized, it's taking that thing up. So what is the counter to that, right? Which can have, to begin with, an equally good experience of AI and has its other features. That's, I think many of us are also aligned with that aspect of it. These are two complementary things. What can you do with technology solutions from crypto for AI? And what can you propose as an alternative ecosystem to the existing centralized ones? I'm more on this side. And what we are doing is this, as I said, and many of us on that stage are doing that, is building this multi-agent, multi-model experience coordinated through a single thing with the same kind of user experience for AI users. But when you do this in an open environment, in this decentralized manner, new challenges come up in terms of how safe will it be, how will you make sure that this AI does what it's supposed to do. There's no SLA for AI. It just, there are some benchmarks, and actually you should not care about those benchmarks. I don't know why people care about AI's ability to solve physics problems. Would you hire your product manager because they can solve physics problems, or your engineers? No, but you do pay for that $200 plan because that can solve some maths problems. You should not care about it. The difficult challenge is that there's no SLA for that AI. But in open, you will demand that SLA. You will be less forgiving in open decentralized. So that whole stack is what has to be solved. A multi-agent, multi-model experience, and then this kind of guarantees. We call it loyal AI, which stands to something and is loyal to that. That's what we are trying to do, and for Davide should speak about it. And then there are aspects about personalization, privacy, and that part of things, which other protocols are also looking. Yeah.
Just on the benchmarking, I think there must be some marketeer there. It's like, let's put the benchmarking there. It kind of makes you look good, right? So just to jab at my own job, so I need to do that balance, right? Numbers are good, numbers are great, but I totally agree with the fact. So we're kind of having something funny here. So we have like one each to Kamesh here says that, okay, we're kind of citing them, we're building with them. Again, it's impossible to build against, like, you'll say that I'll stop using all Web2 brands. That doesn't work like that. You'll always use something or the other, right? But yeah, Magnus, on to you. What do you think?
Yeah, sure. I think, well, Himanshu mentioned benchmarking, which is a really interesting point. So it's actually one area that in Blocksense we're exploring moving the Web3 tech into the Web2 world. So if you look at who actually determines how the benchmarking KPIs are formed, it's the model, like the foundational model builders. And are those appropriate KPIs? Probably not, to Himanshu's point just now, right? Like they solve for very specific things that the users may not actually care about, on top of which the user has no way to verify if that benchmarking exercise was done correctly or if they actually faked it, right? It could be very easy to fake these results. And so one thing that we're working on in Blocksense, and an early ecosystem project that we actually helped incubate, is doing verifiable benchmarking of open source models. And so this means you can take any model and set your desired KPIs to benchmark against, and that will all be open sourced, and it gets run through the Blocksense network. Our node operators reach consensus about the benchmarking, and you end up with a very secure, verifiable version of the benchmarking results. So this means you do not have the same scope for, if people remember the initial Gemini release, when they first started enabling like image generation with Gemini, and people found that Gemini didn't let's just say it was not very accurate with the skin tones of some of the people that the model was depicting, right? Say, show me a Viking, and it will show you like not a white person, right? Gemini didn't know what a white person was, and this was a result of like these kind of safetyist policies at Google. And these sorts of, but at the same time, Gemini actually scored very, very highly on the benchmarking test for that initial model, right? So clearly some kind of disconnect between how benchmarking works and like what the user wants. This is a funny example of benchmarking going wrong. But that's where we're seeing like the Web3 world bleeding into the Web2, and our first clients there are more so in the Web2 areas. But then more so from the Web2, well, actually just staying within Web3 itself. If you think about oracles, they tend to be, an oracle is meant to secure value on the blockchain, first and foremost, right? So blockchains are vulnerable to this thing called the oracle problem, which is that how do you get data or events from the outside world on chain without creating a single point of failure that can rug your users? And traditionally, these oracles are used for DeFi protocols to protect lenders and borrowers or perps users from getting the wrong price published, and then they lose their funds, they get liquidated, so on. Increasingly, we're seeing with the rise of like AI agents and decentralized finance powered by AI, more and more projects requiring oracles to verify the compute these agents are actually running to do things like execute trades on the user's behalf. So imagine your entire DeFi, your entire on-chain portfolio is being managed by an AI. You're putting a lot of trust into the compute that happens behind the scenes there. And this is where we're seeing a lot of traction and demand from projects to enable verifiable computation for their AI agents that are executing trades. And so I think that's going to be a really big area. Once we see the renaissance of the whole AI crypto cycle, we saw the initial shot across the bow in Q1 of this year, and then this sort of mini bear hit. But I think we're going to see a resurgence of that with better models and better tooling later this year. So that's one thing we're really excited about at Blocksense.
Amazing. So we have like 2-1 kind of situation where Magnus kind of went ahead of himself. He's like, I'll go to the Web2 area, and we're kind of rocking it there, trying to get like take back control to them. So we're like actually breaking through that wall where we're saying that, okay, maybe big tech actually needs us, but I'll go to Squat really quickly and try to understand, like, this is like a big panel in that sense. Like, you guys are doing something super different, and I'm just trying to build on top of like each one of you. You said like we had like benchmarking yes, benchmarking no, but then we kind of come back like, okay, verifiable compute. I'm trying to understand like how does KITE kind of come into this whole picture, trying to get like what you guys are building, trying to build with what is inside crypto and what's outside crypto as well.
Yeah, so I have a very simple philosophy, is keep everything simple. we don't want to sell complexity as a product. Tons of companies sell complexity as a product. We want to figure out exactly what's the user's use case, use a simple solution to address people's use case. I think this has been proved over and over again. If you sell complexity as a product, you're going to lose to whoever provides simplest solution. And then, so that's why, from certain perspective, I think users care about trustless instead of decentralization. It's actually you're going to pay a big price to truly decentralize instead of just provide trustless solution. So that's why sometimes I just don't distinguish this is a Web 2 solution, this is a Web 3 solution. I focus on problem. What's the problem today? User has. I think the biggest problem today is that users want to delegate work to agent, but they don't trust the agent in this case because several reasons. The agent may be hallucinating. In this case, you don't trust the agent not be able to transact on behalf of you, etc. So that's why what KITE AI built for is that we want to build trust for user to the agent. How do we get there? First, that we want to make sure every single agent has ID. In this case, I think no one fit better into this wallet address because wallet address is your agent ID in this case. So once we assign a wallet to the agent, now your agent can operate and transact and spend money on top of this. So in this case, you can define your spending rules, for your agent and can spend money in this case. Then you go to the next question. How do you trust your agent to do the work? In this case, you probably want to have end-to-end transparency. What my agent interact with the service agent, the other agent, and then what's the thought process? Why do my agent do this, make this call? Underlying the hallucination for the model arguably is never a solvable problem. The model will always hallucinate. What you can do is that you provide end-to-end trust, end-to-end verification. Say, hey, I try my best in this case. So that's why KITE AI is want to build a simple solution. The simple solution is that let every single user to use agent and trust the agent. So that's what KITE AI focus for.
Amazing.
I think you make a really good point. Most of company, 99% of the company are not using LLM in production in Web 2. Like it took almost 20 years to use machine learning, just algorithm in decision making. I'm talking about rankers. I'm talking about this kind of algorithm that you have on Netflix and Amazon, the algorithm you use to come on Google Map or reserve a Uber on your way back. It took 20 years for companies to start and to trust this kind of algorithm that are transparent. You can take the code, understand it, you understand exactly, you can explain absolutely why decision has been done. And so I think the same work is going to happen for LLMs. It's going to take time. It's going to take 20 years for industry to understand, okay, the model is going to behave in this interval of confidence, and I can prove you that there will be no behavior that are going to go above this behavior. So no risk for your company, right? So you kind of Winstorize the behavior of an algorithm to make sure it doesn't break an overall business. It took 20 years for the industry. Now, to answer more your question about what is happening on-chain, off-chain, the usual explanation is there is a ton of layers in the AI value proposal now, going from compute, so hardware, then training, then inference, then on top of that you have data, and on top of that you have tooling for engineers using these kind of things, and on top of this you have the application layers. I think Web3 has value proposal all the way in each of these particular strats. We don't have people eventually from compute, even if I think as Sentient you have. People from training are here, people from application like Crunch, the final layers. Crunch is just building this last piece, but there is Web3 is like a competitor for all of these layers. And it has added value. Sometimes it's cheaper, but often it's less reliable so far, Sometimes it's more transparent. It's more fair than what you would have from another company. Sometimes you can track what kind of data has been used and this kind of thing. So now it really depends on what you're building, and each project are building things different. At the application level, then you may make some choice down that line that justify your value proposal at the application layer, but I think that's kind of the end goal for everyone here.
Amazing. Good day.
Yeah, so maybe continuing on this thread. I feel that I also feel that Web3 kind of should provide like some complementary like infrastructure to like AI applications. Jean was mentioning that, hey, if you look through the stack, essentially at every layer of the AI stack, there is like applications for Web3 technology. And if you ask why, essentially, I think it boils down to like what is the fundamental thing that Web3 provides, right? And that fundamental thing is one, which is decentralized trust, basically, right? And then why you can essentially like plug into all the layers of the stack, because like with this decentralized trust, like I think there is two main ingredients. One is money and payments, which is built on top, and the other one is like verifiability of data, inference, like model training, etc. So basically what we are doing is we are building on this paradigm, which is right now it's in a niche and it's on the side of the AI industry, right? Because like these giants, they still use the old model of centralized trust, right? Like you trust the company, you trust the state and the payment providers. So in a way, I feel that what we are all doing is kind of building like on the side. Like there is this huge AI city that is growing. We are building a small village on the side, trying to find what are the applications that work. And hopefully in doing this, we discover new applications. This is one thesis of PinAI. Like we want to prove that essentially what we are doing cannot be done with centralized trust, right? Because if you think about personal AI, how do you do it with centralized trust? There is going to be like one entity that is going to amass all the data about your life. Like, first of all, like this is kind of not feasible for one single entity, but even if they could do it, like the only outcome is dystopia, right? Like now everything you do, all the world you see is controlled by one single entity. So we want to kind of like build it on a decentralized trust framework. We want to prove that it's actually feasible to like break the barrier and amass all this data from like different contexts. And then ultimately, like the personal AI we have right now in our product is not that powerful, right? But we are just at the beginning of the curve where we start accumulating data. Like hopefully we can hit that exponential curve where we end up delivering more utility than like one single company can.
Amazing. So Davide just mentioned this moment of like hockey stick growth where you kind of, just go boom and it's like the biggest rollout ever. So we have a lot of founders, product managers, core contributors on this panel, right? So we'll take like a quick switch. We'll try to understand from each one of you, right? Like in terms of your roadmap, there might be like big things that are coming ahead and small things that are there. How do you qualify success at your level? What would you say, okay, this was like my personal parameter that we rolled out this compute layer. We're getting some signups. What does success to each one of you look like? I think Davide, we can start with you and we'll go over the panel.
Yeah, I think in the startup journey at every stage, every week, and then like every day, you have like different measures of success. Like from my perspective, I think more in terms of milestone is like what is the big thing we want to go after and what are the levers that is going to unlock that. Yeah, I think at a high level, it's kind of my framework.
What would PinAI's success at this stage look like? Like what are you optimally trying to get like results? More users, more people using the agents? What does that look like?
Yeah. So at this stage, we are really focused, like our next milestone is like a product rollout. So we want to show that we have traction. We are really focused on the product itself. We also build the infrastructure and the network, but we feel that like we have like a minimal construct that works. We don't want to go too deep into there. We want to like have a success, demonstrate success on the product side, and then yeah. So in terms of metrics, it looks pretty much as like user engagement. In my past life, I was actually like in the growth and marketplace team at one of the big ride-sharing companies. So there is a very structured aspect because like once you reach scale, then there is a very systematic way of like running control experiments and like testing each levers. But I would say that at this stage, like in the startup journey, it's more kind of based on intuitions, like which levers are going to market. Like there is more art, basically.
Amazing.
So I think the goal at Crunch is to create an economically viable organization first. That's a very much our focus. But it's a particular form of organization where there is basically 0 employees and everything is about coordination. So the goal is to continue on the first success that we have. We are currently outperforming some large research team inside some institutions. I'm talking about teams that have more than 100 researchers that have been investing like hundreds of millions every year in budget of research. This team got outperformed by 8,000 people that are competing on Crunch, which is just amazing. And it happened 3 years in a row with customers that are pretty large that I mentioned before. So that was our realization. It's kind of a proof of concept, right? What we're doing is Crunch is beating internal team by having orchestration incentive in Web3. Now we need to turn that idea, that vision into an economically viable organization. So how do we do that? We find these verticals where we have product market fit, and then we try to drill down into this customer vertical. So for Crunch, it's finance, for the simple reason that financial institutions have been gathering data since the 80s, and they have a very strong data culture. They have algorithm everywhere. So these algorithms are our benchmarks that we try to outperform. So we really much focus on these core use cases we have with this large organization, outperforming them, and then scaling down this revenue vertical, which are finance, healthcare, and we go to logistic, energy, and retail. But for the moment, it's really financials, institutions that have the biggest budget and the strongest culture on the field. So this year, the success will be going above $4 million in revenue, which we are already halfway, and growing the community above the 15,000 people in order to double the size of how many researchers are actually active and pushing code on Crunch.
So for KITE AI, I think we are solving one of the biggest problems in the future. In this case, I think everyone realizes AI is inevitable. But think about what AI brings to the rest of the world for the last few years. With Google, like pre-Gen AI time, Google indexed long tail website. In this case, you have millions of websites who actually can profit from providing contribution to the user, provide data. But if you think about it for the last few years, most of people going to just go to OpenAI and Perplexity. They're not going to visit this long tail website. You're going to have people just stop at 5 or 6 different applications, and then that's it in this case. So you're not going to have a booming long tail as a contributor to the AI world. This is actually a huge issue. This is actually, I think everyone talking about this issue. If world is already proceed to this way, in this case, if no infrastructure support, if no one making change to support this, we are going to into a dystopian world. In this case, everyone going to worry about, I think. So that's why, I have a very simple philosophy. I want to build a simple solution, come to serve, in this case, and support the rest of the world. In this case, that's why I built several solutions, Uber, and Salesforce, and then streaming DB support. So that's why I think one of the most success criteria for KITE AI is that we want to make sure not only growth on the number of inference, number of service, number of tasks done by agent, but also distribute this payment from AI user to a long tail of the contributor. No matter it's the service builder, data builder in this case, because we don't want to this all the service and agent and AI monetize into like 5 or 6 player. I think it would be a horrible world no one want to live in. So yeah, that's a KITE AI's mission and our mission. First, maximum adoption. We already have 1 billion inference call in less than 3 months. Second is that distributes all this payment from AI user to the contributor.
All right, so in the world of oracles, typically there are 2 metrics of success. One is total value secured, and the second is track record of security. Right, so total value secured, how much TVL do you secure across protocols? And then have you not been hacked? Because these 2 obviously go hand in hand. If your price gets hacked, then you lose the TBS. No one wants to work with you. So it's very important to ensure both of these. And the dominant player in the Oracle industry is Chainlink, and they've done a very good job of being successful at both securing value and not being hacked. They have the longest track record of not being hacked. Today, it's no longer good enough to just do that. So of course, we are after lots of TVS, and we are very secure, and we take a lot of security very seriously. But in order to compete with the incumbents in this space today, you need to offer a lot more than just securing DeFi protocols. And that's why what success looks like to Blocksense is being distributed across every venue, that means every chain, and being able to cater to use cases across every vertical in crypto. So that's why we're looking beyond just DeFi and into the realms of prediction markets, into the realms of under-collateralized insurance, and of course AI, as areas and verticals that are set to grow rapidly with crypto adoption, that current oracles are just not set up at all in any way, shape, or form to serve, creating a big gap for us to take advantage of it essentially in the market. And so for us, what we really focus on is generalizability. So with our programmable SDK, making it easier and easier for builders to develop the data feeds that they require to bring data on chain, and the modularity of our stack, making it easier and easier to deploy on new chains. So we tend to adhere to a 1-week SLA, and we're trying to get that down to 1 day, so that as soon as we get in contact with the chain, same day we're deployed. And that day we're already helping builders and getting them set up with all their custom use cases. So for us, yeah, really, beyond just TVS and having great security, it's about being extremely generalizable and being able to get to the market very fast. That's what we're focusing on.
Right. So I lead product and tech across AI and crypto and Sentient. So I will not talk about metrics. There are too many. Every week there are a few for every team. So one of them.
We want you to talk metrics.
No. Okay. So there'll be.
Let's take both of them.
No. Metrics would be the thing about metrics is that it's the standard thing. You should do it. You should organize. And you should track. It's the path to success, right? How many agents will be on Sentient Chat is a very important metric for us right now. How many of them are loyal? How many of them are built on open models is a metric we'll have for now. As he said, when the crypto side metrics would be around what we want to do there, which is not out, so I don't want to talk too much about it. But standard things, those are not the standard thing that's gonna give you that success. It's just a tracking mechanism. Everybody has that, nothing secret in that. But I was thinking of a success story, what it will look like. And one story it's a story I keep in my mind, that Arvind, Perplexity, finally wakes up to this. There's no way for Perplexity to move forward except integrating external agents. We do need to share our distribution with others. And he's telling this guy, some project that, you can integrate with us. And those guys tell them that, no, but we are already working with Sentient doing that. He said, but that's a crypto project, man. They'll just throw money at you, and that's why you're going with. We can't compete with that. That's a success story for me.
I think that's a very good answer.
Every startup in Web3 success is going to be getting attention from Web2 companies. I agree with them. Right? The success is for OpenLedger. Any unique feature that we can build that a lot of Web2 companies can admire and start using it. Right? So that is, I like to see that. That is the focus that we were in, more than just getting into more partnership and just getting a lot of people aligned and more developers used to build. This is quite common, which is very fundamental. But the biggest success, what I see for the entire industry, is to getting attention from Web2 companies. Hey, this Web3 project is super cool. Let me also use that, right? So that is going to be the success. So that's why we focused on the model explainability, which is the bigger challenge in the industry. So how to make the model more explainable, why it's behaving like this, what data is really influencing to behave like this, right? So if you're able to figure out the answer, then there will be a lot of potential that every big companies want to work with you. So I think that is the focus that we are on. As Himanshu was saying, every success of the company is going to be like Web2 companies who raised, $1 billion and then start using, Web3 projects for some interesting use cases. I think that would be the success.
Amazing. So last question, very specific. What is one thing that Crypto XAI needs at the moment? And it should be one word. What comes to mind when you need it? Rapid fire, Kamesh, let's start.
Maybe I think we need a lot of Web2 VCs.
One word.
Web2 VCs.
What?
Web
You're
2
like the
ACs should
exact
get into
opposite
Web
of this
3.
panel. You're like, I want everything from Web 2 in this industry.
No, why? Because of that, we are not able to really build a lot of cool stuff, right? A lot of potential developers are here because of the financial factors, right? If the VC short-term mindset and those kind of factors were really, not able to build a long-term product. So that's what
Amazing.
I'm saying.
Okay, Himanshu, one word.
Token.
Okay, Magnus.
Is it alright if the word is 2 words, but they have a dash between them?
Okay.
Production readiness.
Oh wow, that's a good one. God.
Trust is the only word, I think.
Wait, can you say that again?
Trust.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
John.
It's an abbreviation, GTM, or go-to-market, so 3 words with a dash.
Oh yeah.
But
That's me. Davide.
I think we need more products that work and that people really want to use.
Okay, I'll fight you on that, but next time. All right, guys. Thank you for this conversation. It was super nice. Thank you for coming here.
Thank you, mate.